For this moment, Beau.
Don, I'm thankful for it too. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Good evening. So wonderful to be with you on this Thanksgiving weekend. Don, wonderful to be with you. Wonderful to have you here, given all the technical difficulties that we had this afternoon and evening.
You know, a great deal of thanks on this Thanksgiving weekend I have to give to Nancy and Jillian.
Your tech team.
Set up my computer in 4 different rooms in the last 15 minutes. And, of course, it was Jillian who found the hotspot and got us back up running. So,
of course it is.
And pray that it stays, and we'll have a beautiful
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving.
You know, it's technology has made this entire experience of pandemic perhaps much easier and enabled so many of us to be able to continue to work and do so many great things. That being said, it also means that we're exponentially more dependent on it, and so when something doesn't work, it's very challenging. But I'm thrilled that I didn't have to grab a guitar off the wall and do this solo, Don. So very happy you're here. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? You and Jillian and Nancy? Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving?
It was just us, and we had a beautiful meal and beautiful time together. And you know what? We were all very grateful. Very grateful. So
a lot to be thankful for. A lot to be thankful for. And on that note, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to start tonight with Psalm 92 with Tov Lehodot, expressing some of that thanks.
Yeah. It begins with these words, as many of the Psalms have, certain headings. This one is Mizmor Shir Layom HaShabbat. Here is a song, a psalm for Shabbat. But then the first line of the psalm itself is Tov Lehodot Ladonai. It is good to give thanks to God, and very appropriate for this Thanksgiving leftover weekend, as we've titled it. So it's a simple melody. Tov Lehodot Ladonai, that's the refrain. It's going to happen a bunch of times. Even though we can't hear you, you can hear yourself. So please hum along, sing along, bring Shabbat into your hearts and minds now in Tov Lehodot. Tov lehodot Adonai, Tov lehodot Adonai, Uzamer, Uzamer, Leshimcha Elyon, Tov lehodot Adonai, Tov lehodot Adonai, Tov lehodot Adonai, Uzamer, Uzamer, Leshimcha Elyon, Tov להודות לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. And that's Tov Lehodot Ladonai.
Many years ago, favorite settings of Psalm 92 that I first heard my very first summer back in college, living in Jerusalem at Shir HaChadashah in the German colony, and still remains one of my favorites. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
So in the spirit of this sort of Shabbat, Thanksgiving, leftover Shabbat tonight, I'm going to invite each of us to think for just a moment. I'm sure this was a conversation that some of us had around our dinner tables yesterday, but I'm going to invite each of us at this time to sort of think about something in our own lives that we are particularly thankful for on the Shabbat. And whenever that comes to mind, just drop it in the comments section, and we'll share a few of them a little bit later on during the service. We're going to turn now as we continue to welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Hey, how about that? And I'm going to share this Lecha Dodi with everyone. I think it's the first time I've done it, at least since we've been online for Shabbat. And it's a melody written by a talented young composer who lives in Israel. And I love it so much, especially for this weekend, because the melody it reminds me of Shenandoah. It has this authentic kind of American folk song quality. And when I had our brilliant arranger, Chris Harden, set the accompaniment, I said, it reminds me of Shenandoah. And if you listen carefully in some of the piano accompaniment, you're going to hear a few of the melodic fragments of Shenandoah. So here is Lecha Dodi by Joey Weissenberg. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmiyanu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Shem u'tiferet v'li tehila. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikol habaracha. Merosh mikadam nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava techila. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorri, ki vorei uri, דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלך פני שבת נקבלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלך פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה
So beautiful. So
Isn't that
beautiful.
lovely?
It really is. And you're right. It really connotes that sort of sense of Americana and folk music. So
Yeah,
it's
Stephen
been a while
Foster,
since I heard that.
right? Stephen Foster would have appreciated that.
Absolutely. Let's rise now together for the Baruch.
All right, we begin our Shabbat service in earnest now with our call to prayer.
So for those who are kind enough to drop in the chat what you're grateful for, I'm going to share a few of those now. Linda is grateful for one more day, aren't we all? Something so easy to take for granted. Sukas is thankful for being here with all of us tonight, as well as Thanksgiving virtually with her family, near and far. Victoria is grateful for her fiance, Mark. Michael is thankful for being able to move around, stay on top of his Parkinson's with exercise. Absolutely, Michael. We're glad that you're doing well. Merle, hi Merle, Shabbat Shalom. Merle, you and Arnie celebrated your 49th anniversary today. Mazel tov. That's incredible considering the fact that you're 36. Your 49th wedding anniversary with Arnie, and together with your family tonight for leftovers. So beautiful. Melanie, you're thankful for having your children here at home during the pandemic. Absolutely. Hunkering down together, quality extended time with those closest to us is absolutely one of the silver linings and blessings of this whole experience. And Chaim David, we miss you. You're thankful and grateful for all the days of the week and for Shabbat, and every single breath we take. Life is certainly something not to be taken for granted. We all do, despite all the challenges, have an awful lot to be grateful for. And with that, we'll move into moments of Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. And now we'll all join together in the chanting of the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem.
I was rummaging around through the prayer book this morning, and I came across a quote from Milton Steinberg that speaks about salvation, speaks about redemption, and I thought was particularly appropriate in thinking about Mi Chamocha, this ancient redemption song that comes from the Torah that our ancestors sang when they crossed the Sea of Reeds and were finally free. And Steinberg writes that salvation, that redemption is the Jews' victory over human limitations, over ignorance or insensitivity. It is the conquest of sinfulness, of the evils resident within the self, of pride, selfishness, hate, lust, cynicism, the deliberate rejection of goodness and of truth. And so we join together now in our ancient song of redemption, Mi Chamocha.
כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בחורש, לא ראיתי לו, אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך, חופי הים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, חופי הים לפני משה ומרים, Kifada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Gaal Yisrael.
Amen. Don, you mentioned when you introduced the melody for Lecha Dodi this evening that it's one that you haven't done since we've been virtual, and I was thinking that there's so much we haven't done since we've been virtual. We've for all intents and purposes kind of dispensed with the prayer book and much of the English poetry and readings that are usually a part of our normal Kabbalat Shabbat service. And there's one, perhaps my favorite, that we frequently offer on Friday evenings as a part of Hashkivenu, as a part of our evening prayer, that asks God to spread a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace over us and those we love, and keep us safe. And I thought that since I miss it so much that I'd share it this evening. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu makenu l'chaim. Fros aleinu sukat shlomecha, fros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right.
We rise now for the Amidah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehillatcha. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magin Avraham Vezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Ata, Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midom Elach, Melech Mimit U'Mechaya, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Neheman Ata L'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Yul ratzon imre fi, v'hagyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goali, Oseh shalom b'mramav, Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'akol Yisrael, v'imru Amen.
We take a moment amidst our joy and our celebration on this Shabbat to think of loved ones and family members, members of our community who are in need of healing. in need of wholeness. And in just a moment, we'll offer a Mishaberach, a prayer of healing for them. So if you're thinking of someone tonight in your life, in your family, in our community who could use a bit of wholeness, a bit of healing, I'd invite you to call them to mind right now, to hold them in your heart right now, as together we offer these healing words of the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu B'kor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu b'kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Beau.
Well, I'm sure that this Thanksgiving was unlike any other, and I'm also sure that it was incredibly beautiful and meaningful nonetheless. You know, Thanksgiving is one of my absolute favorite holidays. Now, I know that might seem a little bit strange for a rabbi to say because it's not a Jewish holiday, but one of the reasons I love Thanksgiving so much is because it feels like a Jewish holiday. It feels like a great big Shabbat dinner. And it celebrates something that is so central to us as Jews: gratitude. You know, the Hebrew word for Jew is Yehudi, and it comes from the word hodah, which means to give thanks. Expressing gratitude, giving thanks, is at the very core of what it is to be a Jew. But the connections are much deeper than that. Now, back in 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, one of his officials, Luis de Torres, was a Sephardic Jew from Spain. He spoke a bunch of languages, and so he served as the interpreter on Columbus's voyage that rediscovered the New World. And when they first arrived, Torres was the first one off the ship because he was the one most likely capable of communicating with whoever they would encounter. Now, as most of us know, they soon realized that they were not exactly where they thought they were. But legend has it that Torres is actually responsible for giving the turkey its name. You see, the birds were new to Europeans, and Torres thought that the turkey looked like a peacock. And so he gave it the Hebrew name for peacock from the Bible, Tuki. Tuki. And apparently it stuck. Now, like many of us, I can remember dressing up as a pilgrim in black and white with a buckled hat in elementary school for the Thanksgiving play pageant type situation. And I learned that Governor William Bradford, after that devastating winter in 1621, declared a day of Thanksgiving to be shared with the Native Americans and the Pilgrims. But I didn't know about the much deeper connection that very first Thanksgiving likely had to Judaism. The Pilgrims were a religious bunch of people. In fact, they fled and came here so that they could be more religious in a way and practice their religion freely. They knew their Bible. And when it came time to thank God for a bountiful harvest, there's a very good chance that they looked no further than the Bible for a model. And what's the biblical model for a celebration of the fall harvest? Sukkot. Think about Sukkot for a minute. We build these temporary structures in our yards and we welcome guests to share a meal with us. Sounds an awful lot like Thanksgiving. At its core, Sukkot is a reminder that as human beings, we actually have very little control over the things that truly matter in the world. We can't make it rain so that crops will grow. We can't control natural phenomena like hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and wildfires that put lives at risk. And while we can live healthy lives this year more than ever in the midst of a global pandemic, we are reminded that we have little control over illness and disease. Yet there is so much we can control. And on Thanksgiving, that is what we ought to focus on. There's an old joke that every Jewish holiday can be summed up as, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. But all kidding aside, food is often emphasized in our tradition. Every holiday has its own flavor, literally. And so many of our celebrations take place around a table. We're actually taught that the dining room table is an altar of sorts, that our homes, after the destruction of the temple, replace the temple, and the altar is replaced by our table. And so that space at our dining table is sacred. Food is one of our symbols of joy. And at the same time, it should be a reminder of all the need that still exists in our world. Just last week in the Torah, we read about Jacob and Esau. And in their story, Esau comes home from hunting in the fields and he's starving. Jacob uses his brother's hunger as an opportunity to trade the stew he's just made to Esau in exchange for his birthright. Esau agrees. The rabbis don't think much of Esau. They criticize him for letting his hunger turn him inward. He acts only for himself. After all, who are we if we only act for ourselves? Last night, most of us were surrounded by food, and many of us are likely in the midst of seemingly endless leftovers. I hope that amidst our abundance, we can all take a moment to think of those who cannot fill their plates. This past week, during the Big Give, we packed and distributed 1,500 Thanksgiving bags, feeding 6,000 of our hungry neighbors, for whom this pandemic has only made life exponentially more challenging. Judaism requires us to say thank you to God even when things are challenging. Thankfulness is built into the daily system of prayer. It forces us to think about all the good in our lives. And despite the challenges we all face, there is so much to be thankful for. So on this Shabbat of Thanksgiving, may we also remember those who are suffering, who don't have food or shelter. And may we all be thankful for the opportunity we have to do what we can to help. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Beau. I have to tell you, there's such beautiful, meaningful words. And I will tell you, I think I certainly feel this way, and I would imagine a vast majority of our own congregants would agree that what the Karsh family and what you, quite honestly, have created in that Karsh Center is something that we are proud of. Nothing more of anything we do at Wilshire Boulevard Temple than that. If to paraphrase the Haggadah, if we were only doing that, it would be enough. And I know, you'd be the first to say it's not just you; it's a host of dozens, if not hundreds of people, all year long who make all of that happen. And we are grateful for that. We are humbly proud of that because we do know it's what we should be doing. But nevertheless, it's one of the hallmarks of our institution and what we bring to the greater community. So, call up kavod to you, and of course to the Karsh family and the probably thousands of volunteers who help to bring that about, all year long, every week, week after week. Now, I have one more lighthearted question for you.
Well, thank you, Don. I just want to say thank you.
Sure.
That's very kind of you. And this year, for those who don't know, we transformed the Big Give from just a single Sunday into an entire week. In some ways, out of necessity, not being able to have 1,000 or 1,500 clients come and get bags at the same time, and not being able to have so many volunteers on site at the same time. And Don, you're 100% right. It's hundreds of folks, and we had dedicated volunteers with us each and every day for the last better week and a half, really, packing bags, distributing bags, and it is absolutely a group effort. So there were those who came and volunteered. There were so many who supported us and donated to make it all happen. And thank you to everyone out there who made it happen.
All true. Thank you for mentioning all of that. And my lighthearted question to you is, are there any pictures of you as an elementary school student in that Thanksgiving outfit you mentioned?
As a matter of fact, there is, but I'm happy to say I am not in possession of them.
But
My
I would
mother
imagine
is.
your parents are, right?
There's certainly a couple of pictures of me in the buckled, pilgrim hat.
Goodness.
All things that we've all since learned are grossly inappropriate and potentially offensive, but
Right.
there are photographs to prove it.
I'm sure there are. And I'm just going to add just a moment here, a song which I'll share with everyone in a moment. It's a setting of one of the prayers from the Amidah. Its first lines are Modim Anachnu Lach. We bend and bow before you, God, in gratitude. It's one of the prayers of the Amidah that we recite 3 times a day, including on Shabbat and holidays. And it's a beautiful setting, a contemporary setting, if you will, some in Hebrew, some in English by a very gifted composer and cantor in his own right, Jonathan Commissar. And so enjoy it. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, v'imotenu leolam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, Sol chayenu, Magen Yishenu, Ata hu ledor vador. Modim anachnu lach, leolam va'ed. For the sun that rises in the east, for the seas that roar a prayer, for the stillness of a snowfall, for a breath of autumn air, for the grasp within my fingers, for a mind that makes me whole, for the voice that God has given me to speak the truth within my soul. Modim anachnu lach, Modim anachnu lach, Modim anachnu lach, leolam va'ed. Ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, shebechol yom imanu. Ve'al nifleotecha, בטובתך ערב ובוקר וצהריים. For the laughter of the children, for the way they greet the day, with their endless stream of questions, they remind us how to play. And for the ones we call beloved, who take away our fear, they tell us without saying it, remember I am here. Remember I am here. Modim אנחנו לך, modim אנחנו לך, modim אנחנו לך, לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. מורים אנחנו לך, לעולם ועד. מודים, מודים.
Just a few brief announcements as we begin to conclude this evening. You can join us for Contemporary Issues Through a Jewish Lens on Thursday at noon if you haven't tuned in for any of the sessions in this series. It's a wonderful look at what our Jewish sources, both ancient and modern, have to teach us about some of the most pressing social, political, and religious issues here in 2020. And the next session on Thursday is what would the ancient rabbis have watched? Would the ancient rabbis have watched The Bachelorette? Sex, romance, courtship, and marriage in the Jewish tradition. Rabbi Nanis is teaching that session, definitely not to be missed. If you don't already get our emails or follow us on social media, that's the best way to stay abreast of all the programming and all the content that we're putting out each and every day to keep us all connected and engaged. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on Facebook Live, you can join Rabbi Nanis and myself for a special Thanksgiving weekend Havdalah. And last but not least, I'll say that if you're joining us tonight, if you're tuning in tonight and you're not a member of Wilshire Boulevard Temple, welcome. We're thrilled that you're here. We're thrilled that you're watching. We're thrilled that you've found us and hopefully are finding us meaningful. And we invite you to consider becoming a part of the Temple family. Consider joining and becoming a member if everything that we're doing speaks to you. We'd love to have you. With that, Don, any other announcements? Did I miss anything?
Do we want to alert people to the amazing week of Hanukkah activities?
Yes, coming up.
Yeah.
We have plenty of time, but we have, stay tuned for emails. There we go. Popped up on the screen. 8 crazy quarantine nights. We have 8 nights of crazy quarantine programming. Some of it's in person for those of you who are in LA and members of the temple. Some of it's on Zoom. And we invite you to gather with us, spend a little bit of time, hopefully each night, but it's certainly a couple of them, and celebrate Hanukkah together. Yes, dreidel, and then some with Rabbi Eshel and myself will be a wonderful family game night on Wednesday the 16th. So it'll be wonderful. So still a little bit of time before Hanukkah, but mark your calendars, get ready, to say the very least. You can see all of our programs on our website, wbtla.org. With that, we're going to we're going to shift gears a little bit and turn our thoughts to moments of memory, to moments of Kaddish. We begin by thinking of those for whom we're in a period of Shloshim, those who have died during these past 30 days, as we call to mind Evelyn Buckspan, Ruth Cohen, Jerusha Rebecca Simontob Darvish, Gary Ann Dryden, Ray Friedman, Fred Furman, Elliot Capshin, Beverly Landy, David Keene Levitt, Charles Leonard Levin, Lois Liebhaber, Matthew Madwin, Rosangela Rinsky, Leah Sauter, Steffi Schagel, Linda Shear, Lee Schick, Lee Simon, Marcy Stillerman, and Bernard Bob Tuman. We add to their names the names of those whose yahrzeits occurred during this past week: Julius Adler, Abe Alex, Barbara Alpert, Sarah Ansell, Harry Arden, Irene Barish, Sam Bailey, William Becker, Beth Benson, Philip Berman, Yehuda Boade, Ralph Bookman, Sam Breitbart, Nat Babar, Riva Bernstein, Albert Dorskin, Ruth Dubin, Henry Epstein, Betty Feldman, Hyman Fischler, Nathan Fleischer, Robert Frank, Melanie Freestadt, Lawrence Gluckin, Bertha Heitner, Richard Heller, Bess Katzinger, Alexis Kaufman, Richard Kent, Mayor Kessler, Bernard Kislin, Rose Klein, Jonathan Konov, Paulina Konov, Carl Kossower, Harry Koonin, Joseph Labens, Nat Levy, Pearl Lindheim, Sarah Lepeau, Gertrude Morantz, Barbara McDermott, Rita Medway, Florence Melvin, Nell Mendelsohn, Daniel Miller, Joseph Mittler, Mary Moran, Helene Nishizawa, Bernice Parker, Joan Perlmutter, Pearl Post, Mary Prell, Donald Relkin, Irving Revitz, Francis Richter, John Rosenblum, Edith Solomon Rotman, Lionel Safro, Francine Salter, Carol Schachter, Nancy Schmidt, Pauline Schulman, Martin Schwartz, Mary Schaefer, Murray Simmons, Ivan Sloan, George Smith, Howard Sobin, Richard Sonnenberg, David Sugarman, Herman Sugarman, Leon Wallace, Hannah Wolfe, Leora Wolfe, Frank Yablans, Martin Young, Charles Lotkin, and Jack Zeisman. We add to their names the names of all those to whom we are grateful but do not know, those who have fallen defending the flags of the United States of America, the State of Israel, the innocent victims of senseless terrorism and violence all over the world, and everyone who has no one to say Kaddish for them. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. We join together in the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach chilutei ve'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam l'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei dikudsha barichu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom imromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen.
Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. עושה שלום ממנו מה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Amen. As American as it gets.
Amen. Right? Feels like the end of Saturday Night Live.
How about it? Beau, I
Feels
think
like,
we're going to
right?
exit out tonight with this exquisite performance of America the Beautiful by the incomparable Ray Charles. So for those of you who've been on with us, please stay on it, and you want to join and experience this just 2 minutes and 40 seconds of a legendary performance.
And Don, a
expressing
special
great
thank
joy
you
and
to
pride.
Don, a special thank you to your daughter Jillian for figuring out your technology this evening and for letting us have a glimpse into her room, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Without no, this is another office in the house, but I will tell you, the two most important people in my life, the two women in my life, both Nancy and Jillian. Without them, I would not have been with you tonight. That's for sure. So I'm very grateful.
Very happy you were done. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right, Ray.